guys. I feel like it's been so long, and a part of what's been taking me so long to get here because I wanted to look nice for you guys, and shit wasn't possible. Shit was not possible. So I'm back here and I just look like my regular self, and I hope that's okay. But I do have a special treat for you guys today. I am going to be reading my own short story. I was recently published in this anthology created by Trevor Maynard, and it's called Who Are We? And it's 10 short stories of country, identity, and race. And I actually was picked up to be in the anthology as the Cunningham 2020 short story fiction writers. And so I get to read my own story to you guys. I'm excited. Before we begin, my name is Brianca Jay. I do all things books, literary reviews, analysis, recommendations, and every once in a while I'll give you a story time. I am also an aspiring writer looking to be America's best novelist of whatever century we're in today. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay. Who are we? I'm on the cover, guys. Right here. I'm right here. I'm one of the first pictures you see. But it's 10 stories in here. I'm just gonna pick mine. I believe I'm on page 49. So it's token. Let's go. Minka could not speak. Her braids hung like loose vines, passing a curtain over her tear-streaked face. She opened her mouth, but the words ran together quickly and fell apart. Her heart felt heavy with all the things her tongue had not yet learned to say. She stuttered and stopped, tripping over her teeth, and then puttered out. What did finally come out was only a shadow of what she had meant to say. I hate it here. The classroom was empty now, but there was a total of 33 students in Burton's High's sociology course, none of which wanted to be there. They had each been promised their choice of elective: art, dance, culinary skills, woodshop. But after the district initiated mandatory budget cuts, they had been reassigned to the last course with open slots. Miss Burr, a first-year teacher who chose to overlook this reality, committed herself to cultivating long-lasting relationships that dismantles barriers of race and alienation. None of the students had any idea what she meant, but from what they could tell, it involved watching the movie Forrest Gump every day for 3 weeks. It wasn't until last Tuesday that Miss Burr turned off the video and addressed the class. She stood before them wearing an orange and purple patterned dress that landed just above her knees and complemented her fine blonde hair. She was surveying the room, and Minka couldn't help but notice how the thin-lipped woman's eyes sparkled. Each time Miss Burr turned, looking from one side of the room to the next, the sun would catch it just so, and the blue in her eyes would shine with hints of gold. Your assignment, Miss Burr said cheerfully, nearly singing the words, is to bring a dish that represents your culture. She held the word culture a bit longer and looked to Minka. The girl noticed, and her cocoa eyes narrowed into slits. She immediately decided she didn't like the sparkle in her eyes or her ugly dress. In fact, she didn't like Miss Burr. Whose culture would they be learning about, she wondered. Minka could feel the stares already. She was one of 11 black kids in a predominantly Latin school. She had transferred a year earlier after receiving brochures of smiling students and a line that said state-of-the-art science labs. But on her first day, anybody with a pulse could see that those labs hadn't been state-of-the-art for at least 10 years or so. And she also noticed that although the pamphlet had a rainbow of happy students, the school was mostly vanilla. When she got to her 4th class, a boy asked her if she tasted like chocolate. What? Well, you look like chocolate, but I want to know, do you taste like chocolate? He leaned into a chair and smiled confidently. Around the room, the other students waited, watching her. Everyone wanted to know what the black girl would do. Her face flushed red. In her mind, she told him to fuck off and lick his own damn arm. Her skin wasn't even that black. But in the heat of the moment, she choked. She tried to speak, but only managed a stammer, a fumbled, fuck off. After that, she began to take her lunch on the fields, where she could be alone. Most of her days were like that at first. Students constantly fielding her with questions. Could she dance? What was her favorite sport? Where did she buy her hair? But over time, the girl's novelty faded. Outside of Miss Burr and other well-to-do faculty, Minka was ignored. Initially, this had hurt. But the sting of rejection had numbed, and she took no notice when she wasn't invited to parties or conveniently left out of group projects. She had given up vying for the attention and acceptance of her peers and regulated herself to being relatively invisible. That evening, still thinking of Miss Burr and her stupid project, Minka found her mother washing dishes. She was humming along to the stereo. Her blue scrubs had splashes of dishwater and food residue. The scent of sauteed onions lingered about the house. Miss Guillory was a proud Louisiana woman, Creole as she called it, and although she forgot patois many generations back, she had the recipes, and she had the spirit. Minka slid the directions out of her bag, handing them to her mother. The woman stopped scrubbing and grabbed the paper. She read quietly, pausing to say, every line or so. Then she handed it back. Minka waited, but her mother had turned now and started scrubbing all over again. I was hoping, Minka began slowly, maybe, if you had time, you could make a coupon? She looked up then and gave her best puppy dog expression, her eyes wide like saucers and her bottom lip hanging pitifully. Miss Guillory's stone face broke at the sight of this, and her beauty gave way. As she smiled, the deep dimples in her cheeks peeked through, and her coffee-colored eyes felt warm and inviting. Her cocoa skin was smooth, and Minka saw just how much the two looked alike. That night, the two of them cooked her favorite dish, a seared fish with red gravy, stewed tomato, a medley of spices, and a bed of white rice. They played Zydeco and told stories and laughed and ate, and when morning came, Minka was bursting with excitement. She carried the Creole delicacy in her mother's good crystal. It had floral patterns that cast rainbows in the light. Originally, Minka had chosen a plastic bowl they had gotten from the 99-cent store. But her mother had said presentation is everything and shoved the crystal into her arms. Minka had to admit, the meal looked even better. Her mother had layered the fillets of fish perfectly, and she had been extra careful all day. In Miss Bird's class, students had already arrived. When Minka got there, the table was flowing with a variety of dishes. Spicy salsas, tacos, steak fajita, homemade tortillas, menudo. The smell of sauces danced together, and Minka's mouth began to water. She proudly set her dish in the center. Watched as one of her classmates sampled from each pot. She smiled inwardly as she waited for the first compliment. But she thought about this moment all night. How one by one students would try it and be amazed. How she would be modest, charming, and once she had everyone's attention, she would finally set the record straight. She would finally have the chance to explain who she was. And when they asked for seconds, which she knew they would, because they always did, she would be kind and split it evenly with all of them. Nothing like they had treated her. But as the room began to stir with compliments and fascination, no one said anything. She went over to the table then, pretending to scoop another spoon of Emily B's salsa verde. But in reality, she was really peering into her pot. It was perfect. The seared fish covered in spicy red gravy was exactly as her mother had packed it. Something snapped then. Standing there, seeing her dish that hadn't been touched, she felt a pinch behind her eyes. Fed up, Minka plucked her dish from the others. She dropped it on her desk with a great clank, bent her head, and pierced the white fish with a plastic fork. Placed fork to mouth, chewed, then repeated the process. Another spoonful, more fish, more chewing. And as she ate, hot, angry tears fell into the red sauce. She refused to look up. Not even when her stomach began to press against her khakis. Not even when Miss Bird called her name. One hand placed gingerly on her shoulder. Not even when the bell rang. She sat there, forcing bite after bite into her swelling belly, growing angrier with each tear that fell. Miss Burr began but fell short. The levee snapped and broke then. Angry hot tears flowed freely before falling and disappearing into the medley of fish and gravy. Her sobbing was loud and uncontrollable. The next day, there was a total of 32 students in the course. Miss Burr scanned the class for the girl with the woven hair, but Minka never showed up. That's it. Oh my gosh, that is my short story, Token. It is placed in the anthology Who Are We? Again, edited by Mr. Trevor Menard. It is available on Amazon and his website. Go check it out. It's 9 other new aspiring artists, or I don't know, I really don't know who they are, but they're in there as well. So if you want to read stories like that and other stories, check it out. Hope you enjoyed this. Give me a like or a comment. Let me know what you think. This one's kind of personal to me, so I am happy to see what you guys think about my writing and what you would offer me as advice. Other than that, stay up, stay healthy, comment, like, subscribe, follow me back, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. I'm here regularly, and I appreciate all of your time and effort. Have a great day.